Hi, I'm Adrienne from Happy Food Ninja, and this is my mom, Colette, and I brought her here today to do her specialty, which is pie crust. And this is, one of those things that people think are really tricky. She makes it look easy, so let's have her do her thing. Mom, what do we do?
Let's hope it's easy. We start with our flour. Adrienne's going to tell me the amount.
We're going to do 2.5 cups of flour. Yes, this recipe that we're doing today makes 2 either single pie crusts or 1 double. I'm asking my mother to make me apple pie today, so we're going to make 1 giant apple pie with the bottom crust and the top crust, and this recipe will make those 2 crusts. Okay, and next salt. So we're going to do a teaspoon of salt, just as regular salt.
Then I usually stir that up a little bit. I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way with a pastry blender. Someday Adrienne can show you how to do it with one of those whirly things.
Some people call a whirly thing a food processor. I like to do mine in the food processor, mostly because I'm lazy. But you just toss everything in and it does all the work for you.
Shortening is the next thing. Then comes the putsy part. We're just blending, I'll use this again, the shortening with the flour. Kind of a down and turn motion.
So how can you tell when it's ready, Mom?
There should be little tiny pieces of pebbles in there.
Okay, so this is what it looks supposed to look like?
It should look like pretty much like that.
Okay.
The fourth ingredient is water, ice cold water. I always put ice cubes in my cold water and make sure the ice is still floating when you're ready to measure your water. 6 tablespoons, and I put in a couple at a time, and I stir it with a fork. So I don't want the ice cubes in here, just the ice cold water. So there's a couple. I'll blend it in a little bit with a fork. It's the way my grandma did it.
How do you know when it's ready this time?
Well, you get to learn that.
Okay, what's our thing to look for?
Okay, it sticks together without too many little pieces of dry flour at the bottom. So you see, that's why I'm putting this down at the bottom. That's where the dryness is right now. I also have been known to add a little water as I'm going through the process. So since this is a 2 crust batch, I would do the first ball and make into the crust, and if the second half was still a little dry, I would add some more water. So I'm going to break this into a couple of balls to start with. So first I make a nice ball, but again we're trying not to touch it too many times. I kind of squish the ball down, put it on some flour, and the first thing my grandma always did was just go around like this. I'm also going to do a little on that side and make sure there's still plenty of flour on my spot. Rolling out is the fun part, but it's a little putsy. I need a little more flour on my roller. You want to try to keep it circular, so you kind of go around. You don't put all your pressure on. From the center to the outside, going around as you see where it's shaping. Then the other thing we'll need to do is take our pie pan and see where we are. Okay. Sometimes it's good to start with round right away, so I might just take my knife and maybe round this off a little bit, pull those pieces out of the way. It'll just make it easier to figure out where to place it in your pan. Okay, that. For me, some people just fold it in half and do it. I've always put it up on the rolling pin, rolled it backwards on the rolling pin, held the edge over, hanging over, I don't know if you can see that, it's hanging over a little bit, and then roll backwards. And I stop a little early because I want to let that sink into the pan. So we can move it around. It should have enough elasticity to do that. Put your edges down. And you have a beautiful bottom crust. ready to receive your apples or your quiche or whatever. If you were doing a one crust dish of whatever sort, the kind where you would bake it ahead of time, then you'd curl your edges under, which we'll show you when we do the top crust. Should we do that?
Just show them how.
Okay. I always tuck the edges under all the way around and then pinch it. And as you're rolling your dish and pinching, it can be a very pretty little crust. And if you were going to bake it, you have to poke holes through it so that it doesn't bubble up and break apart.
Ta-da! Ta-da! All right, I'm taking over like I did it. So here's the pie crust from the master. All right, so this is a nice, lovely bottom pie crust. So for this and how to use this pie crust and other recipes, visit us at happyfoodninja.com.